NHK Newsline. I'm Roger Pradhan with the news from Tokyo. Lee Jae-myung of South Korea's Democratic Party has been sworn in as president, ushering in the first liberal government since 2022. Voter turnout was huge, about 80%. Lee comes in with the advantage his party holds a majority in the National Assembly. He'll be setting the stage for a major reinvention of the country's domestic and foreign policy.
The duty of the president is to unite the people of our country. It is not to be a big ruler, but to embrace the whole nation. I will never forget that.
The new leader is committed to bringing South Koreans together after the political chaos following former President Yoon Suk-yeol's martial law declaration last year. Voters told us what they expect from the new president.
I hope he cares for the socially vulnerable and makes sure we don't have another martial law and civil unrest.
He will be a busy president. He will have to handle relations with North Korea, deal with the economy both around the world and at home, and tackle diplomacy.
He began his busy day by visiting Seoul National Cemetery in the morning. Leaving his message of unity in a visitor's book. Then he took the oath of office.
No matter who we supported in this election, I will be a president for all. It is a president's role to foster greater unity.
In a gesture of fostering greater unity, he had lunch with leaders of political parties.
I would like to make concessions and create a policy that allows all parties to agree with the people, if possible.
In his inaugural speech, he vowed again to work for unity. He also touched on foreign policy, including the importance of maintaining core alliances despite his past criticisms of Japan.
Through practical diplomacy, we will make the global economic and security crisis an opportunity to maximize our national interests. Based on our solid alliance with the United States, we will strengthen cooperation with the U.S. and Japan, and approach relations with neighboring countries with our interests and security in mind.
He said he'll tackle North Korea's nuclear weapons and other issues while expressing an openness to dialogue in a shift from the previous administration.
We will open communication counters with North Korea to build peace on the Korean Peninsula through dialogue and cooperation.
In Japan, Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru reacted to Yi's inauguration.
I congratulate him on winning the election and taking office. I hope to step up cooperation between Japan and South Korea, as well as our trilateral relationship with the U.S.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio congratulated the new president and emphasized the importance of their defense alliance, shared values, and economic ties. China, on the other hand, said it should not be influenced by third parties with the U.S. and others in mind.
The fundamental driving force for the development of relations between China and South Korea lies in mutual interest. This is not aimed at a third country and should not be affected by a third country. China is always opposed to taking sides and forming camps.
U.S. researchers say a North Korean destroyer that remained capsized following its failed launch last month now appears to be in the upright position. The 38 North Group has released its analysis of satellite imagery of the shipyard in Chongjin in the country's northeast. The photo is dated Monday. The group says North Korea apparently restored the vessel's position manually. Now, this was the scene last week. The warship was on its side and partially submerged. The image shows balloons and personnel pulling ropes, which were used to lift it upright. Local media reported the ship was damaged in an accident during its launch ceremony on May 21st. The image also showed probable damage to the sonar bow section. The analysis suggests the shipyard does not have the facilities to handle the necessary repairs. Leader Kim Jong-un has ordered that the capsized destroyer be restored before the ruling party's Central Committee's plenary meeting set for later this month. Wednesday marks 36 years since the violent crackdown on pro-democracy demonstrators in Beijing's Tiananmen Square. But fewer and fewer younger Chinese know anything about it. Citizens were in and around the square when soldiers opened fire on June 4th, 1989. The government puts the death toll at 319, but many believe the actual figure is much higher. The government maintains its response to what it describes as turmoil was correct. The square and the avenue leading up to it have been under tight security since last week. Police have been conducting ID checks on pedestrians in an apparent effort to discourage memorial events and other activities. People in Beijing mostly refuse to speak to foreign media. A woman in her 30s said she knew very little about what happened.
We might have heard of the incident, but have no clear idea as we haven't studied it.
The government keeps a tight lid on any discussion of the episode. The number 64 is taboo as it evokes the date, June 4th. Even NHK's overseas service has been affected. On Wednesday, a TV newscast in China about the crackdown was completely blocked out. The United Nations has elected 5 non-permanent Security Council members. Their 2-year terms will start in January. The General Assembly voted on Tuesday for Liberia, Latvia, Colombia, Bahrain, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo to join the Council. Latvia will serve on it for the first time. The country shares a border with Russia and has consistently supported Ukraine since Moscow's full-scale invasion began in 2022. In February, Latvia and Liberia voted in favor of a UN resolution calling for the withdrawal of Russian troops from Ukraine. Bahrain and Colombia abstained. The DRC did not vote. Bahrain is one of the few Arab countries which have diplomatic ties with Israel, but it's joined other Arab nations in strongly criticizing Israel over its operations in Gaza. The Security Council has 10 non-permanent members representing geographic regions. Half of them are replaced every year. The Dutch government has collapsed after a far-right party left over differences in refugee policy. Geert Wilders heads the Party for Freedom, or PVV. It initially joined the 4-party coalition launched in July last year.
I'm striving to become the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, to run in the election again, and ensure that the PVV will be bigger than ever.
The PVV left the coalition Tuesday because the other 3 parties did not agree to its proposals for stricter immigration controls. These include using the military to protect borders and shutting out asylum seekers. Prime Minister Dick Schoof handed his cabinet's resignations to King Willem-Alexander later in the day. Schoof will continue to serve as Prime Minister until a new government is established. That election is now likely unless another coalition can be formed. The country will host a NATO summit later this month. In other news, Mongolia's prime minister has resigned after his son's extravagant lifestyle set off public anger and protests that brought down his government. Local media reported Lofsun Namsran Oyun Erden stepped down after he lost the confidence vote in parliament on Tuesday. He first took power in 2021 and led a coalition government from last July. Protesters took to the streets in the capital Ulaanbaatar this May after his son's lavish living drew criticism on social media. Viral photos included those of the son proposing to his girlfriend at an upscale resort exclusively reserved for them. Protesters, many of them young, called for the prime minister's resignation and a disclosure of his personal assets. Mongolian President Ukhnagin Khurel reportedly urged Parliament before the vote to honor the citizen calls for justice. After losing Tuesday's vote, William Erdogan said it was an honor to serve the country and people in difficult times. He'll remain as a caretaker prime minister until his successor is named within 30 days. Armed ethnic minority groups in Myanmar have announced the extension of a temporary ceasefire. They said the truce will be continued until June 30th to prioritize earthquake recovery efforts. The move comes after a similar announcement from the ruling military days ago. Both sides declared a temporary ceasefire days after a major earthquake rocked central Myanmar in March. The military says the quake has left more than 3,700 people dead and over 5,000 injured. Three armed ethnic minority groups, including the Tang National Liberation Army, or TNLA, said on Monday they would extend the ceasefire. The announcement cited ongoing rescue and clearance operations. Heavy rainfall has caused more damage, including collapsed structures. It remains unclear whether the truce will hold, as fighting appears to be continuing. Local media outlets report there were military air and artillery strikes last month in the northwestern region of Sagaing and the western state of Rakhine.